parents demanded that I not attend any family events until further notice because I seemed too happy in my current relationship while my sister got dumped again dating the wrong guy. Now they're enraged because this time around I ended up getting married without inviting them and told them it's because they seemed too happy babying my sister at 30, so I banned them from any of my future family events. My older sister has always been seen as the favorite in our family. It's something I've known for a long time, but that doesn't make it any easier to deal with. Every time my family takes her side or makes it clear that they choose her over me, it still hurts. No matter how much I try to ignore it, that feeling of being left out or less important always comes back. About 2 years ago my sister started dating a new guy. She was really serious about him and hoped that he would be the one she would marry. Before this relationship she had been with another guy for 5 years, but that one ended badly because he cheated on her. It was a painful time for her, so when she started seeing her new boyfriend she felt hopeful again. Things seemed to be going better this time. She often told everyone in the family how much she liked him and how ready she was to settle down. She even said that she had been encouraging him to propose to her soon because she really wanted to get married and start the next chapter of her life. The main problem in their relationship was the age difference. My sister's older than him, and while she was fully ready to settle down and start a life together, he wasn't quite there yet. He still needed some time. I had the chance to talk to him a few times, and from what I could see he was a genuinely good person. He seemed respectful, kind, and had good intentions. It wasn't like he didn't care about my sister. He just wanted to feel more secure in his own life before taking such a big step like marriage. He wanted to build his career and be more stable first, and honestly I can't blame him for that. Wanting to be in a strong place before making such a big commitment makes sense. But the truth is my sister has always been a very impatient person. She doesn't like to wait for anything and she always expects things to go the way she wants. That's just how she's been since we were kids. If she made up her mind about something, the rest of us, my parents and I, basically had no choice but to go along with it. It was like her wants and needs were always more important than anyone else's. If she wanted to do something, it didn't matter how it affected the rest of us, and if she wanted something expensive or out of reach, she didn't care whether our parents could actually afford it or not. Even if it meant they had to struggle financially or go into debt, she still expected them to make it happen for her. She's used to getting her way and she never really thought about how it might affect the people around her. Just like always, my sister kept pushing. She didn't care that her boyfriend needed more time. She wanted what she wanted, and she wanted it now. She kept putting pressure on him to propose even though he had already said he wasn't ready. Things took a really bad turn when his grandmother passed away. It was a sad and emotional time for his family. But instead of giving them space to grieve, my sister did something that shocked everyone. She went to his mother, who had just lost her own mother, and lied to her. She asked her to give the grandmother's ring to her son so he could use it to propose to her. His mother was completely taken aback. She was heartbroken and trying to deal with the loss, and here was my sister making demands and trying to take advantage of the situation. She didn't like it at all. She saw how pushy and insensitive my sister was being, and it left a really bad impression. It was supposed to be a time for mourning, but instead my sister made it all about herself and what she wanted. Later on, when her boyfriend found out what she had done, he was furious. They got into a huge argument and he told her how completely wrong and inappropriate it was for her to go behind his back and talk to his mother, especially during such a painful time, just to get his grandmother's ring. He was hurt that she would do something like that without even talking to him first. He made it very clear that he didn't appreciate being pressured and that he had never agreed to propose, at least not yet. He said he didn't feel ready and he felt like she was trying to force him into something he didn't want. My sister, of course, couldn't understand it. She kept pushing just like always and wouldn't accept that he wasn't on the same page as her. No matter how clearly he explained it, she just couldn't wrap her head around the fact that he didn't want to settle down right now, and in the end he couldn't take it anymore. He broke up with her. He said it wasn't just about the ring, it was the way she acted, the way she didn't listen to him or respect where he was in his life. It was all too much for him and he decided it was best to walk away. Ever since the breakup, my sister has been going around the house acting like she's completely heartbroken. She talks all the time about how hurt she is and how her ex didn't treat her right, but instead of being honest about what really happened, she makes it sound like he was the one who failed her. She keeps saying things like he wasn't manly enough to claim her as his wife, as if the only reason the relationship ended was because he was weak or scared of commitment. She refuses to admit that maybe she was too pushy or didn't respect his feelings. What made it even harder for me is that my parents fully take her side like always. In their eyes she did nothing wrong. Instead of helping her reflect on her actions, they too believe her ex was completely at fault for not proposing to her, and they act like he led her on. They comfort her, praise her, and once again make her feel like she's perfect and the victim no matter what really happened. Last year I met my boyfriend and things moved quickly in a way I never expected. Just a month ago he proposed to me and I happily said yes. Honestly, I never thought I would be getting married so soon, but the truth is we were perfect for each other. He is everything I've ever wanted in a partner. Kind, caring, and someone who truly understands me. Last week we went to a family event together. Everyone in the family congratulated us on our engagement, including my parents, which felt nice. I was really happy to share that moment with them, but there was one person who acted differently. My sister. She was avoiding me the whole time and I didn't understand why. Later she pulled me aside to talk privately, and to my surprise she told me that I should just leave with my fiancé because I was only there to rub my happiness in her face. It felt hurtful and confusing, especially since I didn't mean to upset her or make her feel bad. I just wanted to celebrate my good news with my family. She told me that she thought it was suspicious that I got engaged this year, like it didn't just happen naturally. She said she believed I probably forced my partner to propose just to show off in front of her. She sneered and added, "You're just desperate. You probably begged him to propose to you. You've always wanted what I have and now you're just trying to one-up me." I was taken aback, honestly. Her accusations were so ridiculous I didn't even want to get angry. Instead I tried to calmly tell her that my partner truly loves me and that no one had to convince him to propose. It was something he wanted to do because of how much he cares about me. I also told her that I understood she might be feeling bitter or upset for some reason, but my happiness wasn't about trying to make her jealous or compete with her. I reminded her that as my sister she should be happy for me and support me just like I would for her, but instead of talking more or trying to understand, she just got angry and walked away without saying another word. It hurt, but I also felt like I had done my best to be kind and honest with her. After that family event, my parents called me and told me something that really upset me. They said that my sister was still very angry with me and that they didn't want to take sides, but because she was currently heartbroken they felt like as parents they needed to support her more right now. Because of that they asked me to stop coming to any family events in the future. At least for now, until my sister said it was okay for me to come back. I scoffed when I heard what my parents were saying because I seriously couldn't believe that they really wanted me to stop showing up at family gatherings just because my sister was jealous that I got engaged before her. It felt unfair and frustrating, hearing that hurt a lot. It felt like they were punishing me for something that wasn't really my fault. It was as if my feelings didn't matter and I was being pushed aside just because my sister was upset. I told them how tired I was of them always taking my sister's side and never thinking about how I feel. I asked them, what did I even do wrong? How could my happiness about my engagement make my own sister resent me so much? I couldn't understand why my joy was causing so much tension and why I was the one being pushed away like I was the problem. My mother argued back, saying that my sister was clearly hurt and wasn't thinking straight because of it. She told me that at times like this my sister really needed their support and that I should be the one to show maturity and understanding. Then my father jumped in and said that maybe I was being too sensitive and that I was overreacting to something that wasn't a big deal. They kept insisting that family meant making compromises and that I should just get over myself because they felt I was making the situation worse by not backing down and agreeing with my sister. My parents even said things like, sometimes you have to put your own feelings aside for the sake of peace and you should be grateful that your sister still wants to be around you at all. Listening to them felt like a punch to the gut. It was like they were blaming me for everything, making me feel like I was the problem just because I was happy and moving forward in my life. They acted as if my sister's jealousy and anger were completely normal and justified and that I was being unreasonable for wanting to be treated fairly. It was cruel in a way, like they wanted me to doubt myself and to feel guilty for simply existing and celebrating my own happiness. I shook my head in disbelief as they spoke, but I didn't argue back. I just ended the call because it was too painful, and since then I felt so bad and lost. I replayed the whole thing in my head over and over, wondering how a family that's supposed to love me could treat me like this and make me feel so small. So Ida in this situation. Update 1. Since I shared my story, a lot of people have asked me questions about what it was like growing up with my sister and how she had behaved before. Many want to understand if this is just a recent problem or if it has been happening for a long time. Yes, my sister has always behaved this way, even as kids. She acted like the boss of everything else. If she wanted to play a certain game or watch a specific TV show, it didn't matter what anyone else wanted. The rest of us had to drop whatever we were doing and do exactly what she said, or else she'd throw a fit. I remember one time when we were about 10 or 11, she demanded that she and I wear matching outfits for a family photo. I didn't want to, as I don't like wearing pink as much, but she screamed and cried nonstop until my parents gave in and forced me to wear those awful clothes. She didn't care if it made me miserable. Her happiness was the only thing that mattered. It was like living with a tiny dictator who used tantrums as her weapon to get her way. One reason my parents always seem to favor my sister is probably because she's their first child. They put all their hopes and dreams into her, and maybe they see her as more important just because she came first. I've heard from my grandparents that when I was born my parents weren't really planning on having another child. They called me an oops baby, like I was some kind of accident they didn't expect or want. That stuck with me. It feels like I was never really wanted the way my sister was because of that. It's like my sisters had a special place in their hearts from the very beginning. Everything she wants or needs gets priority. My parents always make excuses for her behavior no matter how selfish or demanding she is, but when it comes to me they're quick to criticize or ignore my feelings. I remember once when I accidentally broke a vase, my parents got really upset with me, but when she did something similar they just laughed it off or gave her a gentle warning. It felt like she was allowed to get away with more and I was expected to be perfect. I have tried to talk to my sister before about how her behavior affects me, but it's really hard as she tends to shut down or get angry. Once when we were teenagers I told her I felt like she never listened to me and that she always acted like her feelings were the only ones that mattered. Instead of understanding, she yelled at me and told me I was just jealous of her. That's been a pattern. When I bring up my feelings she turns it back on me and makes me feel like I'm the problem. I have tried to get my parents to see my side and treat me more fairly. When I was younger I sometimes told them how I felt left out or that my sister was being unfair, but most of the time they just told me to be patient or try to get along better with her. They often reminded me that she was older and that I should respect her. It was always frustrating because it felt like my feelings didn't really matter and they expected me to just accept things as they were. My sister mostly behaves this way with me and sometimes with our parents. With other family members or friends she can be very charming and sweet, which makes it confusing. It's like she has one face for the people she wants to control and another for everyone else. This has made it harder for me because some family members don't see the whole picture and think she's perfect. I have thought about talking to a family counselor and even suggested it once, but my sister and parents didn't want to. They said it wasn't necessary to involve an outsider and that we should just try to get along better on our own. Honestly, I still think counseling might help because it would give us a chance to talk openly with someone neutral, but right now it feels like no one else in the family is ready for that. Update 2. After reading all the comments and thinking about everything, I decided to finally make a post on Facebook to share how I was feeling and call out my parents and sister publicly. In my post I explained in detail that my family had told me to stop coming to family events for now because my sister was being jealous and petty after her breakup. I wrote about how I've always felt pushed aside and ignored in the family, like I'm never the one who gets the attention or support. Even now when I'm engaged and trying to celebrate a happy moment in my life, my older sister still manages to make everything about herself. I wanted people to know how unfair it all felt and that I wasn't just making a big deal out of nothing. I also wrote that I would respect my family's wishes and not attend any family events for now because I didn't want to face all that tension and hurt. If they couldn't respect me and my feelings, then I didn't want them in my life either. I told everyone that they didn't need to invite me to any future family gatherings since my parents and sister clearly didn't want me there. I knew that by writing this I would be exposing my family for what they had done, showing the way they treated me unfairly and how they had pushed me away. Just a few hours after I posted it, my phone started ringing nonstop. Calls came from relatives who had seen the post and most of them were furious with my parents and sympathized with me. They were calling my sister childish and saying how unfair it was that I had been treated that way. Everyone made it clear that they would want me to attend their family get-togethers regardless of what my parents wanted. It felt good to finally have people understand what I had been going through. But then my sister and parents started calling me over and over. They were furious at me that I had exposed them and kept sending messages begging me to take the post down. They didn't want the family's problems to be made public. I stood my ground and informed them that the world needed to see their true face, how they had treated me unfairly and pushed me aside. I told them if they were embarrassed by the post, then maybe they shouldn't have acted that way towards me in the first place. I wasn't going to hide the truth just because it made them uncomfortable. It was hard, but I knew I had to be honest about what happened. Suffice it to say, my parents and sister are now facing a lot of backlash. Relatives are questioning them, calling out their behavior and finally seeing the truth about how I've been treated all these years. And honestly, I feel relieved and even a little happy that they now have to answer for it. For once they can't hide behind their usual excuses or sweep things under the rug. People are seeing how unfair and one-sided things have been, and it feels like a weight has been lifted off my chest. It's about time they face the consequences of how they've treated me. Update 3. Just a day after everything blew up, my sister showed up at my house completely unannounced. She didn't call, she didn't message, she just unlocked my door using the keys I had given my parents in the past to be used for emergencies and barged into my house like she owned the place. I could tell from the moment I saw her face that she was angry and ready to make a scene, and she did. She started yelling at me. The second she stepped inside, she was furious that our relatives have turned on her and our parents, all because of the post I made. She blamed me for everything, for the phone calls they were getting, for the harsh words from family members, and for the fact that for once people weren't automatically taking her side. She told me I had humiliated her and our parents in front of everyone and that they were now heartbroken and stressed because of the backlash. Then she said something that truly stunned me. She demanded I talk to everyone and issue a public apology. She expected me to clean up the mess, not because I had done something wrong but because she and my parents didn't like being called out. According to her, I had gone too far by putting our family problems online and now I needed to fix it. She stood in my living room furious and dramatic, acting like I had ruined her life just by telling the truth. At first I tried to stay calm, but as my sister kept going on, something in me snapped. I had stayed quiet for so long, letting her push me around, letting our parents defend her no matter what she did, but not this time. I told her firmly and clearly that she had no right to come into my home and blame me for the consequences she brought on herself. I reminded her that I had every right to speak up about how I'd been treated and that I wasn't going to apologize for telling the truth. I told her that just because she didn't like being held accountable didn't mean I had done something wrong. I told her she needed to grow up and finally take responsibility for how she treats others, including me. I said that she wasn't the only person in the world who gets to feel hurt or disappointed. I was done being quiet just to keep the peace, and that's when she got nastier. She narrowed her eyes, curled her lip in disgust, and snapped. "You have no right to get married before me." I stood there stunned for a second. I actually thought I misheard her, but no, she meant it. In her mind, being the older sister somehow gave her the automatic right to get married first. Like it was some sort of birthright. Like love and happiness were things that had to happen to her before anyone else in the family, especially me. "You don't even have a real relationship with your man," she kept going. "He doesn't love you like that. You forced it. You probably tricked him into it. Don't get too comfortable, because the second he sees the real you, he'll leave just like mine did." Then she crossed a line I didn't expect. She said she was going to go talk to my fiancé and expose me. "I should go talk to him," she said with a bitter smile. "He deserves to know who he's really marrying. I'll make sure he sees what kind of person you are." She stood there like she was proud of herself. Like she really believed she had some kind of power over my life. I asked her what that even meant, and she just smirked like she knew something that could hurt me. She called me manipulative, saying I only acted sweet and innocent to get what I wanted from people. She called me selfish, accusing me of only caring about myself and never thinking about how my actions affected others, especially her. She said I was attention-seeking. Like everything I did was just a way to make myself the center of attention, mainly to steal the spotlight from her. She went even further, telling me that I didn't deserve the love and support I was getting from my fiancé or anyone else. According to her, it was all fake, that he was just blinded right now but would eventually see through it all. She claimed he'd realize I wasn't the person he thought I was and that he'd leave me once the truth came out. Her words stung even though I knew they weren't true. Hearing someone in your own family say things like that, someone who's supposed to love and support you, it shakes you. She sounded a bit unhinged, but I stood my ground. I looked her dead in the eye and told her that threatening my relationship wasn't just wrong, it was a line she would regret crossing. I didn't hold back. I said, "This is exactly why all your boyfriends end up leaving you, because you can't stop trying to control everything and everyone around you. You push people away with that attitude and it's going to leave you alone in the end." Then I made it clear, "You crossed the line with your threats and I'm done. This isn't a warning anymore. I'm cutting you off right now. I don't want you in my life anymore. How dare you threaten to come between me and my fiancé? Consider this the end of our relationship. No more chances. No more talks. I'm done." She didn't like hearing that. The moment I told her I was cutting her off, her expression twisted into pure rage. She called me ruthless and ungrateful, saying I was tearing the family apart just to satisfy my own selfishness. I firmly asked her to give back the keys to my house and leave immediately, as I didn't want to see her face anymore. She stormed out, slamming the door behind her, still yelling things at me. Ever since that intense confrontation, I have made the difficult but necessary decision to block my sister and my parents from all forms of contact. It wasn't easy. I still struggled with feelings of guilt and sadness, but I knew it was the only way to protect my own peace of mind. Blocking them meant I wouldn't have to endure their constant attacks, their unfair judgments, or the endless cycle of blame and manipulation. It was a hard boundary to set, but an important one. I need to prioritize my own well-being and happiness, even if that means cutting ties with my family for now. Update 4. It's been a few months since I last shared an update, and a lot has happened since then. The biggest news is that I got married. It's something I've been looking forward to and I'm really happy, but even though this should be a joyful moment in my life, my family is of course making things difficult, just like they always do. This time I made the decision to have my wedding without inviting my parents or my sister. I knew things were tense and I wanted to have a peaceful day without any drama, but as you might expect, my parents were furious when they found out. They sent me an email expressing how deeply upset and hurt they were. They said they felt disrespected because I didn't invite them to the wedding, and they were especially angry that I had asked others not to tell them anything about it. It was clear they felt betrayed and left out, and they weren't holding back in letting me know just how much this had hurt them. My parents only found out about my wedding when they saw pictures posted by some of my cousins on social media. They had no idea it was happening until then. Normally I wouldn't have even bothered replying to their email, but this time I wanted to give them one final response to make my feelings clear. So I wrote back to them and told them I didn't want to invite them as they always seem too busy spoiling my sister even though she's already 30 years old. I explained that all my life they have always supported and sided with my sister, and now after everything they have no right to suddenly feel hurt and upset because I didn't want to invite them to the happiest day of my life. I made it clear that it was a hard decision for me too to not have my own parents there on my wedding day, but I knew if I had invited them they would have somehow turned the focus to my sister and ruined the celebration for me. I didn't want my marriage to be overshadowed by the same old family drama, and at the end I wrote one last thing to them. If you wanted to be part of my life you should have treated me like I mattered before it was too late, but you didn't, so from now on you're banned from any of my family events. Ever since then my parents haven't written back, no reply, no apology, no explanation, just silence, and honestly I hope it stays that way. I finally feel at peace with my life. I have a new family now. My husband sees me, respects me and stands by me, something I never got growing up.